everyone, let's get started on topic 2. So this is the content that we have scheduled to engage with in our second week of the session, and it's all about chemistry. So let's get started, hey? Alright, don't forget about our subject learning outcomes, as I said before, and our subject learning objectives. Remember, you have the outcomes and you have the learning objectives that correspond to each outcome. Alright, so let's start from the very beginning. I don't want you to feel anxious or stressed out about chemistry, because we are only going to be looking at chemistry at a very introductory level, and the concepts you will find that they are actually quite easy to understand. Okay? So let's start from the beginning. What is matter? So matter is actually anything that has mass and that it takes up space. So anything that weighs anything and has a specific volume. That is the definition of matter. Now, all matter is made up of atoms, okay? Now, an atom, you can't chop it up. You can't divide it up. And also you can't destroy them, okay? So we know what matter is, and we know what matter is made up of. Now, what is an element? So an element is something that is made up of only one kind of atom, okay? So they are the three kind of key concepts that I want you to understand, okay? Now we're going to have a look at this in a minute, so it's all good. Right, so I'm sure you guys are all aware of the periodic table. Now, we do not want you to learn the periodic table. They made me learn when I was at uni the first 20 elements, but we're not going to do that to you. What I do want you to understand though is that how to read the periodic table. So can you see here that there is a square and there are things inside the squares? The most obvious thing inside the square is going to be the letter, okay? So that's going to be the letter that represents that element. So the letter for carbon is C, the letter for oxygen is O, and so forth. So that's the symbol. The letter is the symbol that represents the element. And then we've got a couple of other things in here. We've got the symbol of the element, and we also have the name of the element. So the symbol for carbon is C and the name is carbon, okay? The other two things that we need to know about the periodic table is where to find the atomic number and the atomic mass, okay? So I'll show you that in a minute. So just have a look. Now, there are plenty of periodic tables online that you can play around with, and they all contain all different elements. So, in the human body, we are made up of only a few elements, okay? So if you have a look at this, look at that. 98.5% of our body is made up of just these 6 elements, okay? Look at it as a percentage. We are made up of 65% oxygen, 18% carbon, 10% hydrogen, 3% nitrogen, 1.5 calcium and 1% phosphorus. How interesting is that? So our bodies are only made up of a few, well, 6 elements, mostly. Now, I don't want you to worry too much about minerals for now, because we will go into them later when we need to go into them, when they perform a specific function. For now, I just need you to understand that minerals are made up of elements, okay, and that they are important, okay. We need minerals in our body because we need them for certain things, okay. For example, calcium, okay, iron, we need that, we need them, but I will point them out to you as we come across them. So, atoms, we cannot divide them and we cannot destroy them, yeah? Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? What you need to understand is that atoms are very, 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 very tiny, okay? Very, very, very tiny, and we can't divide them and we can't destroy them. Let's have a look at the structure of an atom. So what is an atom made up of? An atom is made up of 3 separate pieces, okay? We've got protons, neutrons, and electrons. Easy peasy. Now, let's have a look at the protons. Protons are positively charged, okay? When you look at the periodic table, we know what the symbol is, we know what the name is. Do you remember when I said we need to know the atomic number? Well, the atomic number is just how many protons are in that atom. That's it. Easy. So carbon has 6 protons. Oxygen has 8 protons. Now, can you see where the protons live? They live in the nucleus. So the atom has a nucleus and then a shells. Protons live in the nucleus, which is the middle bit, because these electrons, they all whiz around. Let's have a look at some examples of the periodic table now that you're a chemistry expert. Hydrogen has 1, which means it has a nucleus with only 1 proton. Helium has an atomic number of 2, which means it has 2 protons in its nucleus. And lithium has an atomic number of 3, which means that it has 3 protons in its nucleus. So, you are stressed about chemistry. No more stressing about chemistry. What else do we have in our nucleus? Well, we actually have neutrons. Now, neutrons don't have a charge, okay? They are neutral, N for neutral, P for positive. And the neutrons live in the nucleus of the atom. They hang out together. Okay, so let's have a look at the final bit of information with regards to this particular part, or with regards to the periodic table. The number of protons gives you the atomic number. But what is this weird thing down here? Well, atomic mass, all that is the number of neutrons plus the number of protons. And that gives you the atomic mass. Here is another example. Here we go. So helium has an atomic number of 2, which is the number of protons, and an atomic mass number of 4, which is the atomic mass is the number of protons plus neutrons. I feel a bit weird doing that with no one here, but I'm hoping that you are calling out to your screen. Okay, so now I just want to do a quick recap drawing and I will come back in 1 sec. Okay, I'm back. So my document camera is not the best, so I'll make it as clear as I possibly can. So let's do a little revision map. We learnt what an element was. The element is the smallest unit of matter, and elements are made up of atoms, okay? We figured out, or we learnt about the six major elements in the body. Then we looked at the structure of an atom. We have protons, neutrons and electrons. The protons and the neutrons are the ones sitting around in the nucleus, and the electrons are whizzing around. And we also learnt about atomic number. I'll just focus this. So the atomic number equals the number of protons in the nucleus, and the atomic mass equals the number of protons plus the number of neutrons in the nucleus of an atom. So that's what we've done thus far. Okay, so that's enough for this recording, and I'll see you in the next one.